A Look at Finance is underwritten by Janney Montgomery Scott, trusted advisors for generations.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Janney Montgomery Scott's first Vice President, Steve Carlton, for our weekly look at finance. Thank you so much for joining me
today. Great
to
be here. I love that coin scene that drops down as it changes. That's really catchy.
Awesome.
I like that.
How perfect.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I see a lot of red today. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing wrong with red. I love red.
If you're talking about red in the stock market as opposed to red in fashion, then you're right. It is not necessarily a good thing. But, you know, the market was down today, but it was down for a number of reasons. And, you know, I kind of take a step back, and I think we've become a little bit complacent, a little bit spoiled. The market can't go up every day. And we've had an incredible run. And I think when we've crossed 16,800, for us to move 100 points either way, as a percentage, it's a very small percentage move, so I'm not too alarmed by that. I think there are bigger issues at work, geopolitically, you know, the global issues that are driving it. But, you know, overall, I think it was a pretty meh day.
Not that bad.
Not that meh, yeah. I think that's a word. We can use that, can't we?
And how about, let's say, gas prices? For example, I was driving to work today and I noticed a little...
Price shock?
Yes.
Yeah, and you drive...
I drive an Expedition.
I was going to guess Prius, so I was way off.
Not the Porsche.
Yeah, both of those are terrible on gas, right? So I drove by as well. I had to fill up on gas yesterday, and premium gas, and $4.25 a gallon. So that's a local story, but what's driving it? It's not the local consumption that's driving it. It's if you turn on your news, if you watch, you know, what's going on politically in the world. Iraq right now is in turmoil. The president came on today and said there could be strikes, targeted strikes going on there. And I think that makes the oil community very, very nervous. And so we saw, you know, the oil numbers cross over 105 today. That puts a lot of pressure on consumer spending. So
do you think it's going to get better for the summer?
You know, I want to say yes, you know, but I think the instability seems to suggest that I think we're a long way from this being fixed. And because the Middle East is so tumultuous right now, because the situation is so precarious, there's just so many inflammatory issues going on in the Middle East. I don't think it will improve. Will the gas prices, you know, skyrocket? Who knows? I don't think that's necessarily in the cards yet. At this point, there's no reason to panic, but it's definitely challenging. And I see a lot of consumers struggling with that. You know, when you put $100 in and it doesn't fill the tank, you know,
so we'll
it's hard.
probably be doing a lot of what we did last year and actually stay in the area instead of traveling.
The famous staycation. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a staycation. It can happen. But yeah, there's a great example. When you look at Saratoga and you look at Warren, Washington County, this area, we're very dependent on tourism for this time of year. So whether it's the restaurants, whether it's the local businesses, if people stay home and they don't drive, that puts a lot of strain on businesses. And a lot of these local businesses, you know, you've got July and August that make or break their year. So there's a little bit of concern there. You know, I've heard people in the last couple of days talking about it. You know, that and the weather, which everybody loves to talk about.
That's great. Well, not great. It hasn't been great. It's been bad for the past 3 days, but the weekend is going to be great, though.
You know what I have to say about the weather? Meh. It's been terrible. It's June, right? It's terrible rainy weather. I'm waiting for some nice weather. And I heard Saturday's going to be good.
Saturday's going to be great.
But there's another factor in consumer spending. You know, when I looked at some of the numbers today, and you looked at consumer spending and some of the sales number, the unemployment number, those numbers were all kind of just like the weather. Meh. Not great. Not terrible, just in the middle of the ground.
Unemployment was getting better.
You know, that's what everybody's been saying, but the number actually missed. It was actually worse than expected this week, 317,000. So that was a worse number. You know, it's not a terrible number. It's a meh number. So I think this weather issue will affect consumer spending, and we see that a little bit in some of the storefronts that we're seeing. You know, Lululemon talking today, and some of the others saying consumer spending is not what it could be, and even the GDP. So somebody said to me earlier today, I think it was you, what's the good news in all this? You know, where's the upside in this?
Exactly.
So
it's depressing, just like the weather.
Yeah, it's depressing like the weather. So the good news is there's going to be sales. Lots of sales.
Oh.
When you
so
have,
that's a good thing for the consumer.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the businesses.
Going to be good for the consumer. So when you look at a lot of the box stores, a lot of the clothing lines and stuff like that, you're going to see them discounting sooner in the season because they're not moving the merchandise as much. So this could be at the time of year where you might be surprised by things coming on sale that aren't necessarily usually on sale this time of year. So that's kind of the silver lining. But you know, overall, with all the instability that we've seen over the last several months, the market's done remarkably well. Things have maintained, you know, a great degree of stability overall, but we need to see more improvement. And that's been the thing we've talked a lot about. We need to see the numbers get a lot better, and they're not yet. So, you know, that's like this weekend. I want to see the sun. I want to see the temperature go over 80.
You will.
And then I can work on my tan.
I think so. I think you will.
The lighting, it makes me much whiter, I swear.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us today.
Always
Thank
a
you
pleasure.
so much. And to see this interview again, head to our website, looktvonline.com.